Back here on TYT Sports to talk some tactics this week. There's a huge game, Arsenal versus Tottenham, so we're going to break it down. Arsenal obviously coming off the back of a tough loss against Bayern Munich, and Tottenham seem to be hot in form at the moment, so let's talk some tactics. Okay, so this is a lineup that I think Tottenham should head out against Arsenal. So obviously travelling to the Emirates is a tough place to play. I think that you should bring back in Rose and Walker at the back. I know some things changed up at the week during the week, against Anderlecht. Trusty centre-back pairing who's been playing so well this season. Ali and Dyer, I think, are a great partnership in holding midfield. I'll talk about something that I want to highlight in a minute on my iPad. Some of you guys might have seen me do this before. I try to pretend like I know what I'm talking about on the iPad and do the whole Andy Gray thing, but it works for me so far, so I'll stick to it. Dembele back in, Lamela, Eriksen and Harry Kane. Okay, so travelling to the Emirates, I think this is a perfect time to play Arsenal. I think they're a little wounded, as I mentioned, against Bayern Munich. Now, I'm not saying Tottenham or Bayern Munich, but they do have some similar traits that I think they can emphasise in this game and try and take advantage of. So, at the moment, Arsenal's team news, apparently Bellerin is still a doubt, and I think that's a huge plus for Tottenham, and I'll tell you why in a sec, because Debuchy will be playing, so I'll get to that. And apparently Koscielny is still a doubt as well, so he might not be making a return to the team. So, defensively, they are not in full strength at the moment. So what will this mean for Tottenham? Well, it just so happens that Tottenham's star striker, Harry Kane, as much as he is not Robert Lewandowski, some of his dynamic movement is very similar to Lewandowski. So if you're watching Bayern Munich, just imagine this is Lewandowski at the moment, the way I'm touching on here. What he likes to do, Lewandowski, is he doesn't always get the ball, but what he does, specifically when Bayern Munich are attacking down a certain side, he'll make this run, which takes away the two centre-backs, splits them to try and cover his run, and leaves all this area in here. What this does is this allows for a lot of room in behind, and just so happens that Tottenham has a attacking fullback, very similar to that of David Alaba, who would move forward as Rose likes to attack down the left-hand side. So specifically against Arsenal, they found a lot of joy down Arsenal's right-hand side, because Debuchy coming back in to play in the right-back area, I don't think he's fully fit. I don't think he's fully in, I would say, in the same system that Arsenal is formatting at the moment. He's not exactly cohesive in his movement with them. He's often caught isolated out wide on his own right here. And I think Tottenham can take full advantage of that if Debuchy happens to play out wide, because Tottenham do have a great width in their attack. Eriksen, I know, likes to cut inside. So what will happen when Harry Kane does this is he'll take Mertesacker, who isn't naturally the fastest nowhere, he'll take him away, and this will allow for this gap in here for Eriksen to come onto that lethal right foot of his, or allow him to cut inside and use Danny Rose out wide to put the ball in and drill some crosses across. So we know Tottenham are doing very well from wide areas, but we also know that whenever you get Eriksen a yard or two of space, that allows for so much, I would say, attacking play to develop in there. And as I said, Arsenal at the moment not covering those wide areas as well as Bayern Munich exploited. But another thing that I wanted to touch on, the last attacking thing that I think that Tottenham can utilise. So bringing Dembele back in might limit the amount that Ali can push forward. But what Arsenal do not do so well is picking up that trailing midfielder who comes in just at the end. So what happened with Bayern Munich is there was plenty of chances where in the final third, some of their attacking, I think it was Thomas Muller, who started a little deeper on these runs, would find so much space in there, because what happens with Santi Cazorla playing in there with Coquelin, he often gets caught up and is pushed up, because we know Ozil's not going to track back as much, so Cazorla is pushed up and it's left for Coquelin to try and cover all this area on his own. Now naturally that will be Dembele pushing up in there, but Ali actually does a great job of just trailing his run at the last minute and putting it in. You guys will remember his crucial goal in the last game where he caught it on the volley, a sweet strike from him, and I think the same thing can be done against Arsenal. So look for those trailing runs from Ali coming into the edge of the box. Definitely utilise him. Dyer is that anchor that can sit back, and as I mentioned before, it's not going to be an easy task. Just because Arsenal lost against Bayern, they're still going to come out full floor, but I think this is one of the best chances Tottenham have of getting a result from the Emirates. So that's how Tottenham are going to attack Arsenal, but I mean, with this lineup, as I mentioned there, I think Debuchy will be in at right back, Mertesacker, Paulista, Monreal, Cazorla, Coquelin, Ozil, Campbell, Sanchez and Drew. Still a lot of attacking quality in there, and a lot of, I would say, ability to go and get the result against Tottenham. Now, as I mentioned there, exactly how Tottenham will try and attack, Arsenal need to try and fill in that gap, because Debuchy was left isolated far too many times, and that was because Coquelin was having to cover all this area on his own. Now, Cazorla has done a great job, I think, this season with Arsenal already in taking up that box-to-box midfielder role, but he needs some support in there. If he needs to come back and support Coquelin, it allows for Coquelin maybe to move over and try and cancel out that 2-on-1 situation. But as we know with Tottenham, Eriksen likes to go inside. So not only will Cazorla have to be the anchor to Coquelin, so what it works out, as I've talked about many a times, is you need your pressure, you need your cover and your balance. And Arsenal at the moment just don't have that exact recipe of that in the defensive formation. So if Debussy's pressing the ball, you need to have Coquelin covering in here, and you need to have Cazorla in here as your balance to make sure that it's not just an easy switch inside. Now, as I mentioned, at the Emirates is a different story. They're not in Munich anymore, playing against the world's best team, in my opinion. They're playing against Tottenham, who are still dangerous going wide. But that's the main defensive threat that I think they need to be sure to make sure that it doesn't come back and haunt them. So now to counteract what Tottenham will do, if Tottenham start flooding the width and start pushing forward their fullbacks, Tottenham are not the most, I wouldn't say are the best structured team in making sure that everyone covers. So if Rose goes up, Vertonghen will come across and everyone else will kind of shift across. What Arsenal then need to do is turn this into their weakness, because Alexis Sanchez is going to hold the width out here. As soon as they get the ball, they need to make sure they attack the wide areas. So Alexis Sanchez, as we know, is deadly one-on-one. You need to get him possession and make sure to turn Tottenham's attacking threat from into the wide areas into Arsenal's strength in attack, because they're the fastest counter-attacking team in the league, in my opinion, when they get going. So Giroud needs to make sure that he doesn't start to wander, that he sticks to what works, which is getting the ball into his feet, dishing it out wide to Sanchez and getting into the box. That is how Arsenal are going to defeat Tottenham. They're going to absorb some of the attacks from Tottenham, because Tottenham are confident at the moment. Let's not beat around the bush. Tottenham have won several of their last few games, are looking good in their attacking threat, but Arsenal are still Arsenal. So, as I mentioned on Tottenham fans channel over there called Spurred On, I gave my bold prediction. I'm not going to side with Tottenham just because I was on that tactics video. I'm going to say that it's going to be 1-1. I think that Tottenham will take the lead, but I think Arsenal will come back and equalise, and I think it will be points shared at the Emirates. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think Tottenham will exploit Arsenal's right-back weakness? I think is kind of evident in the moment if Bellerin is doubtful. Do you think Arsenal will turn this around and counter-attack on the weak side for Tottenham? Let me know in the comment section below. Follow me on Twitter @Francis_Maxwell, and don't forget to subscribe.